Episode 180 coming at you, everybody, here at Movies You Miss Podcast. This is going to be a fascinating next hour of your life, mine included. I'm sure V feels the same way.
Yes, I do, John.
All right. If you followed along from last week, you know that V and I both picked movies that we love, however, the other does not. So I actually do not like V's movie, and V does not like my movie. So this is going to be a brand new episode where both movies are not liked by each other.
That is an understatement, because both of us loathe each other's movies.
I don't think you loathe mine. I think you just are mad that I hate yours. So
Wait
you're going to
for it.
completely just try and destroy my movie.
Just wait
my
for
movie
it.
is the better one of the two. So when we get into it, we'll get there.
I'm so happy to know that our audience is going to be on my side.
Oh, I highly doubt that.
Okay, folks, we should have a vote off on Instagram for this episode.
Yeah, we'll do some poll or something like that.
Yeah.
And when mine wins, we'll all see who's right.
I think whoever loses owes the other one a drink.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean,
You know I love making drinks and I love drinking drinks.
and I don't, so you can buy me a milkshake.
All right. Perfect. But before we get into these movies, since V will be going first, thank God, I guess save the best for last, as they say.
We have to end on your movie? This is going to suck.
We do. Yeah, it's going to be great. But before we get into them, welcome to Movies You Miss Podcast. If this is the first time you are joining us here at Movies You Miss Podcast, just know that this is a once go-around so far. We might do it in the future if it all ends well and none of us are running for the hills
Crying.
with tears in our eyes. Yeah. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. We are John and V, film industry veterans, been friends for getting on 30 years now, and we are here to discuss movies that we feel need to be revisited and flown under the radar, movies that we love, and today, movies that we hate.
And we'll see at the end of this episode if our friendship's going to make it to 28 years.
We'll see. We will see.
Oh my gosh, but next August, when we have our 28-year anniversary, we have to do a 28 years later anniversary.
No. Nope. I
Come
don't
on,
think
we'll
I
make
ever
it
want to watch
better.
28 years later again.
No, I mean that we're going to celebrate our anniversary, not that we're going to watch that stupid movie.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
We'll make it
we
better.
can celebrate our anniversary. Yes. All right. It's time to jump into V's movie. V, take it away.
My pleasure. I picked a movie that's awesome. It's hilarious. It was released in 2013. It stars Jason
Two incorrect
Sudeikis.
statements.
You know what? Let's at least make a deal that we can describe each other's movies before tearing them down, okay?
Okay.
I mean, I'm more than happy to interrupt you while you describe the stupid plot of yours.
Mine has a stupid plot.
Okay, so this movie my pick stars Jason Sudeikis, Jennifer Aniston, Emma Roberts, Will Poulter, Nick Offerman, and Kathryn Hahn, as well as Ed Helms. God, this has got a great cast. This is 2013's We're the Millers.
There's one scene in this movie that makes it worth it, but the fact that I had to wait an hour and 25 minutes to get to it. Anyway, continue.
Okay. We're the Millers opens up introducing us to David. He's played by Jason Sudeikis, and he seems a little bit like a bum, a lot like James Franco's character in Pineapple Express. He's a little grungy. He's got several days' growth of beard. It looks like he hasn't showered. He's got a mop of hair on his head that he doesn't really take care of either. He just seems like a little bit of a slob, not very motivated. Well, he is a weed dealer, so that also fits with my description from James Franco in Pineapple Express. And
Yep.
he lives in this building with a couple other people, including Jennifer Aniston, who is a stripper in this movie.
Yeah.
Her name is Rose. Oh, that's the scene you like. Got it. Okay. No, it just came to me. And also Will Poulter playing a young man named Kenny. His mom is a total flake and never around, so Kenny is this sweet boy who really likes to hang out with David as much as he can because he thinks David is just really cool and actually treats him nicely, even though he kind of doesn't. And lastly, we're introduced to Casey, who is a young girl who's actually homeless who lives and couch surfs in the neighborhood. David goes on his rounds for the day, selling weed to a lot of different people, and he comes home with his backpack that still has some in it, and also a whole bunch of money. Now that night he sees Kenny down in the lobby with all the mailboxes, and that's where he runs into Rose too, and you can see immediately that Rose and David hate each other with fiery passion.
Yeah.
And that's when Casey gets introduced to the movie, and she's actually being harassed by a couple of guys across the street. And Kenny, being the sweet boy that he is, he's 18, he runs out and tries to stop these guys. And unfortunately, they are clearly way more street smart than this kid is. And so he starts getting jostled around too. And that's when David steps in and goes, damn it, I gotta help. So he runs across the street. Well, at this point, these guys focus on David and see his backpack and realize he's carrying a bunch of cash and weed because Kenny accidentally lets it spill that he's a drug dealer. And these guys chase David down and actually steal from him. And not only do they steal his backpack, but they drag him back to his apartment, beat the crap out of him, steal all his weed and money from his safe in his apartment as well. So now he's been totally cleaned out. And that's pretty unfortunate because Brad Girdlinger is his main supplier, who is a drug kingpin. And David actually owes all the money to him because that was all his weed that he was selling. And so, unfortunately, now that he owes Brad Girdlinger a whole ton of cash, $43,000 in fact, Brad now has the ability to threaten him and says that you have to go pick up a bunch of marijuana for me in Mexico. I've lost my courier. I need someone to step in. Just go pick up a smidge of weed. We'll be square.
I have a smidge of very choice marijuana down in Mexico, and I need it here by Sunday night. But my regular courier is out on account of the fact that he got gunned down. Anyway, that's where you come in. You could be my mule. I need someone I can trust. You go down to Mexico, bring it back here by Sunday night. Not only will I forgive your debt, I will pay you a standard courier fee of $100,000.
You're gonna give me $100,000 to move a smidge across the border?
Smidge and a half. It's nothing.
David's like, no, man, that's a federal crime. If I get arrested, it's like 25 years in a Mexican prison. He's like, don't worry, I'll pay you the standard courier fee of $100,000. Also, you don't have a choice. So,
Yeah.
David is now required to go pick up a smidge of weed in Mexico. And he's sitting on his stoop trying to think of how the hell he can do this. He looks like a drug dealer. And just him by himself, he's supposed to drive an RV across the border. How is this going to work? That's the point where he and Kenny are brainstorming a little bit on the stoop of their apartment building. And this family that seems like they're from the Midwest drive by and ask for directions. And in that moment, David has a bit of an epiphany and a bright idea. And he decides that, if he can gather up a couple people to pretend to be his family and they drive across the border as a family just going on vacation, that nobody's going to suspect them. And, well, where is he going to get these people? Well, he asks Rose to pretend to be his wife, and she tells him to fuck off, basically. But unfortunately, Rose is having some financial trouble, as well as some problems at work. And so she ends up agreeing if he is willing to pay her a little bit of money. Kenny says yes to going because his mom's a flake and he just lives by himself anyway. And David has to convince Casey, the young woman, to go along too and also pays her. But in the end, all of them agree to go with David, and because they live on Miller Street, that's where their apartment is, they become the Millers. In order to pass off as a wholesome family, David's got to clean himself up a little bit, and this is one of my favorite scenes because the way he delivers this line is just so fantastic.
Okay, what are we doing today?
Yeah, I say, give me some that says I get up every morning at 5:30 and commute for an hour and a half to some bullshit job, where my jag-off boss expects me to kiss his balls all day just so I can afford to keep my ungrateful screaming kids decked out and Dora the Explorer shitting my wife up to her fat ass in self-help videos until the day I get up the courage to put a shotgun in my mouth.
So now they're off on their way on this adventure to pick up a smidge of weed. And they pick up the RV and make it to their destination in Mexico. And unfortunately, that's when they find out that it's more like a smidge and a half.
Hey, Brad, what the fuck?
Uh-oh, something wrong?
Yeah, something's wrong. Something's very, very wrong. Okay? You said a smidge of pot.
This is not a smidge.
Smidge and a half? No?
No.
You got me moving enough weed to kill Willie fucking Nelson, man.
Okay, they're using a
Goddamn bucket brigade to put it on the RV as we speak.
Okay, everybody, John's smiling. John's smiling. I swear I'm going to convert him. No, I'm kidding. I know he hates Jason Sudeikis to his core.
No.
He will never be convinced to like this film because he hates Jason Sudeikis.
No
I get
conversion.
it. That's fine. I don't need one. I know that we have a lot of listeners who love this film, so it's okay.
I don't think we do.
I've already told you how many people reached out to me when you said you hate Jason Sudeikis our first year of this podcast, and they reached out and were like, what is wrong with John?
I have a good head on my shoulders, and I can tell a wolf in sheep's clothing, and that is Jason Sudeikis.
It's called acting.
Is that what it is? Is that what he's doing?
So now they're drug smugglers and in this RV, and that's when they meet this couple played by Catherine Hahn and Nick Offerman, and they make this movie into a whole other level of comedy. Those two together is absolutely ridiculous and hilarious.
Is it?
Yes, they played the Fitzgeralds, and they are just goody two-shoes compared to the Millers, who are just awful. And so now for the rest of the movie, we are on this road trip. This is kind of a road trip movie. We are on this road trip adventure with the Millers and the Fitzgeralds as the Millers are trying to hide from cops and DEA agents and get back in time to deliver all of this weed to be paid off. And the Fitzgeralds are just trying to have a wholesome family fun vacation. And of course, the Millers get into a whole bunch of trouble and hit a whole bunch of road bumps, literally and figuratively. And this is just a fun adventure. It's kind of a drug comedy, but it's also kind of a satire on family road trip movies. I've loved this movie since it came out. It's one of my all-time favorite comedies. It makes me laugh every single time I watch it. I love all of the deadpan humor and sarcasm, especially between Jason Sudeikis and Jennifer Aniston. And that's the thing, is that I think that Jennifer Aniston did such a good job after Friends, redefining her career. She could have easily just slipped into some rom-coms, playing, the sweet leading lady, and tried to make a career out of that. And instead, she went the total opposite direction, surprised all of us. She played this deviant dentist in Horrible Bosses, and that's really what kicked off her career, to give her a lot of flexibility. And then she's playing a stripper in this movie, and she's cussing up a storm in it, and at first you're like, oh my god, Jennifer, and then you realize how good she is. And I'm actually a big fan of hers. I think she's a pretty good actress, and I've always enjoyed her in this role. And then Will Poulter playing their son, never in a million years knew that he's English until like 2 years ago when I saw an interview, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
And he actually is the new, we used to call it Neville Longbottomed when somebody did a bit of a swan-like glow up as they became older. But now it's called Poultered, because Will Poulter went from this goofy looking kid that he's actually nicknamed Eyebrows at one point in this movie. And now he is smoking hot. He was really hot in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He recently was in 8 episodes of The Bear. He's great.
Was he really?
Yeah. He's great, and he's making a career for himself, which is really cool. Emma Roberts, she was in Scream Queens for a while. Did you work with her?
I worked with Emma Roberts for 3 months on Scream Queen Season 2, yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories that she is an entitled bee. Is that true?
I did not see any of that.
Oh, good. Okay.
From her. Yeah. I had an absolute blast working with her. She and I got along very well. And we had similar senses of humor.
Nice.
And very dry sarcasm towards each other.
Uh-huh.
I think it was day 3 where I had gone to invite her to set and was like, hey, Emma, we're ready for it. And she goes, John, I'm not going. I said, all right, well, then I guess we're fucking rapping then, aren't we, Emma? And she started laughing. Was like, all right, let's go. And I was like, cool. And that was like the icebreaker right there. And then it kind of happened with Abigail Breslin after that, and Billy Lord, and that's kind of when I think they all accepted me as one of the crew, because I came in towards the end of the season, so
right.
I only had the final 3 months with everybody. But yeah, it was a blast. She was great. I really had a good time with her.
I'm really glad to hear that. I was a little concerned. And
yeah, and I know she gets a bad rep. I've heard it all. I didn't see any of it personally.
Good. Okay, nice. Well,
yeah,
definitely like hearing a firsthand account versus rumors on the internet, right? And she's also in Scream 4. I actually really liked her in the 4th installment of that franchise.
I will support Emma Roberts all the time, really. I think I said that with the movie Space Cadet last year.
Mm-hmm.
I likely would not have watched that unless it was for Emma Roberts. And also, Amy's a big fan of hers, too. So I'll watch Emma Roberts and support her along.
And Jennifer Aniston actually appeared in one of my very early picks. She was a voice in The Iron Giant.
Yeah.
She plays the mom.
To Hogarth Hughes. Hug.
Yeah. Love that film.
So good.
And this is the part that I don't understand, because this movie has one of our all-time favorite filmmaking Easter eggs or aspects in it that we talk about all the time. The credits in this film have bloopers.
Yep, there are bloopers.
You love bloopers.
Yeah, if the movie's good.
Okay, fine. All right, so before I get into a little bit more of just a couple of behind-the-scenes facts in this movie, go ahead and do your worst.
Okay. I've seen this movie one other time, and I wanted to give it a shot because a lot of people were telling me that I was wrong about Jason Sudeikis. I think this came out after Hall Pass and Horrible Bosses. So I had seen both of those movies, and I did not like Horrible Bosses in the least because of Sudeikis and Charlie Day. And then I saw Hall Pass, and that movie was fucking terrible too. And he was also in one of the big names in that movie, along with Owen Wilson. So I remember seeing the trailer for We're the Millers and being like, yeah, okay, there's some, the Scotty P with the tattoo. Okay, nice little sight gag. The whole thing with Will Poulter and the spider was like, oh, interesting. Jennifer Aniston as a stripper was, of course, very eye-opening for me. I've been a Jennifer Aniston fan for a long time. I'm not a big Friends fan, but I do like The Breakup. I like The Bounty Hunter with her and Gerard Butler, and a couple other movies that she's popped up in.
Bruce
I've enjoyed.
Almighty?
Yeah, Bruce Almighty, of course, absolutely. And I tried Morning Show or Morning whatever
Yeah,
that
the morning show.
is.
My mom likes it.
Yeah, I couldn't get past like episode 5. I think it was Reese Witherspoon that was the reason.
Oh,
but either way.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big Reese Witherspoon fan. But back to We're the Millers. Jason Sudeikis just looks like he knows that he's funny. And that's my problem with him, Jimmy Fallon, Keenan, Michael Key.
No.
There's
Jimmy Fallon is not funny. He's never been funny.
I know.
He's
never been funny.
not
and
creative
neither
at
has
all.
Jason Sudeikis. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon sucks. So does Jason Sudeikis. And Jason Sudeikis being on Saturday Night Live, I think I might have seen 3 episodes with him on it. And I don't know him as a person.
A little bit like a frat guy.
Not just that. I just feel, like I said, he looks like he knows that he's funny. So that everything that he says has to be funny. And it's not. And it's just this weird sort of egotistical prick bag of a face on him.
It's actually a pretty good description.
Every time he says something, he's got this, and it really worked for Seinfeld because Seinfeld was not an actor. Anytime Seinfeld said something that he thought was funny in the show, he had that smirk on his face because you knew he was close to breaking. Whereas Jason Sudeikis has that fucking look on his face every time he says something, and he thinks that whatever he says is the funniest fucking thing that he's ever said and that anybody's ever said. So I just don't like the arrogance and the egotisticalness of Jason Sudeikis. Yes. Now, granted, I don't know the guy. I don't know anybody that's worked with him. He could be the coolest fucking dude on the planet. He is not anybody that I enjoy watching. Yeah, he'd have to be No Face from fucking Dick Tracy for me to actually like him.
So
I don't mind his voice. I don't mind, like, I don't know.
Face.
I hate his fucking face.
So-
and I'm sorry, man, if you ever listen to this, I'm sure people have said far worse things about you, or maybe not. Maybe, I could be one of the only ones because I've never seen Ted Lasso. My wife has tried to get me to watch it, and I'm like, babe, I am not going to waste my fucking time.
He plays such a different character. I wonder if that would convert you. I'm
going to tell you right now, I might like Ted Lasso. I'm still never going to like We're the Millers.
No, that's fair. But my question is, Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Steve Buscemi were all considered for the role of David in We're the Millers. If that was the case, if somebody else played David in We're the Millers, would you like the movie?
You said Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and
Steve Buscemi, which is so wrong. That would never work.
That's fucking weird.
No,
yeah,
that's
I guess
stupid.
maybe because Steve Buscemi has that kind of look about him, like dirt baggy. Like he said this about himself. I've watched him say that about himself. Either way, I don't think I would have liked it with Jason Bateman. I think I would have liked it with Will Arnett, only because Will Arnett is so good as Joe Bluth, and he's got that arrogance about him. But there's something almost innocent about Will Arnett that just makes it funny and just kind of like, oh man, I don't know. It's a very strange thing to break down. I didn't like the change up with Bateman and Ryan Reynolds because when they switched, I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't see Jason Bateman as this foul-mouthed guy. Now, granted, I did see Bad Words about the spelling bees, and that movie's fucking funny. And then, of course, there's Game Night, which is R-rated, and he's in that, and that's fucking hysterical
on
too.
my list.
So
I love that movie.
And he was great in Smokin' Aces as that fucked up lawyer.
Yeah.
So I do like Jason Bateman. I just don't know if this would have been the role for him.
Mm-hmm.
Getting past the Jason Sudeikis hate, the story is beyond cliche. I didn't even like Ed Helms in this movie. Like, the guy didn't make me laugh once. I fucking hated him so much in this movie. I just don't like anybody in this movie. I didn't mind Emma Roberts. I didn't mind Will Poulter. I hate scenes in movies like this, which is one of the reasons why I turned off The Family Plan. It was because they're like, let's start singing a song. And they put on TLC, and all of a sudden Will Poulter knows the whole fucking thing. It's like, no.
Will Poulter
this is
picked
stupid.
that song himself.
I know he did.
Because
I know,
he's a
I
big
know.
TLC and hip hop fan.
He's a big British hip hop white boy fan. That's totally
man.
cool. I like my hip hop too.
Don't be hating on white boys loving rap. We have Eminem.
I just said
okay?
I like my hip hop too. I have plenty of vinyl hip hop records. Either way, it was just a very cliche story. The storyline just being like, okay, I get it. You know, why? Yeah. Totally understandable to go the direction that they go in. I like the idea of creating a fake family, going over the border, the whole thing. It's a clever idea, and I know that the writers of this movie have done a movie that I love, and
Many
you will
movies
mention
that
that,
you
I
love.
hope, because they've
Yes.
done a few of them that are great. Yes. This is just not one of them. On top of that, I felt it was completely unnecessary to have Catherine Hahn and Nick Offerman in this movie.
Oh my God,
it
it would
added
have been
nothing to it.
That
for me.
is not true at all. It would have been such a straightforward, boring film otherwise. And it's the juxtaposition between a family that's actually married with each other to each other and communicate and. Like when
I know,
Jason Sudeikis
I
and Jennifer
know.
Aniston are trying to tell their fake story of how they fell in love and they can't do it. It's great because they're like, they hate each other.
Oh, okay, see, it worked better for me in the proposal. It just felt more natural in the proposal, whereas in this movie, it was like, Jennifer Aniston's doing this because it's R-rated and she's going to play a stripper. Jason Sudeikis is going to do this because he is an egotistical prick bag. Will Poulter's going to do this because he is a little British boy that just came to the U.S. and he's trying to make it as an actor. Totally fine. It just, I didn't like the whole, I just didn't like the whole thing. And it could be because of, I just, that's the thing though, like talking about it, I don't think it's just strictly Sudeikis. I think it's literally the evolution of the movie and the way that it plays out and the characters that we're introduced to. It's not even that funny, but the moment where Guzman's like, hey, are we going to do this or am I going to get my 1,000 pesos? And they're like, pesos? Oh, here you go. Here's $100. That's 1,000 pesos. That was like, oh, ha. And I turned to my wife because she was watching this with me. And Amy did not like this movie.
It's okay.
So
She
I
hates
very,
your movie
very
more.
happily.
Doesn't matter. She
Oh,
hates your movie more.
yeah.
She texted me that while she was
don't
watching my
care.
film.
Yeah, she told me that. She's like, well, I said that I hated your movie more. I'm like, I don't care. As long as you don't like We're the Millers, we can still be married and go on our vacation next week. So I was like, oh, you're not enjoying it? Text V right now. Let V know that you don't like this movie.
Wait a minute. The one time you're cool with somebody using their phone in a movie is to text me they hate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'm at home. You know, it is what it is.
Shit. Well, that's so funny
But,
because there are many elements of this film that would be right up your alley. It's kind of a drug comedy, right? It has some dirtbags in it.
Really?
There's a lot of elements of this film that you like in other movies.
They're just done better, and there's no, I mean, I guess this could be a drug movie. They're just smuggling. They don't get, there's no scene of them getting high together.
There's not
There's
a
no
single scene of anyone
ingestion of-
using marijuana in this film, even though
yeah.
it's a marijuana movie.
Right. So, you know, maybe as cliche as it would have been, have Sudeikis' character give a joint to Will Poulter's character, and you know, it just, it is what it is. And it did not need to be almost 2 hours. Cut out like 20 minutes of a bunch of stuff.
It's okay. I'm going to
And
say the
make it
exact
an
same
hour and a
thing about
half.
your dumbass film in a couple minutes.
Well, my movie's only an hour 40, so your movie's
It was an
15
hour
longer than
and
mine.
49 minutes of my life.
Yeah, well, we're each not getting those 2 hours of our lives back. So anyway, overall, I give We're the Millers because, again, there's one scene in particular that's fantastic, and I like Emma Roberts, and I like Will Poulter too, and I like Nick Offerman and Catherine Hahn. I just didn't like them in this movie, and I do like Ed Helms as well. So I'd give it like a D- because of all of
Whatever.
them. Okay, fine. I'll give it an F. There we go. I'll give you my true, honest opinion. This is a Klimsch F meter right here.
Nope.
Big, fat, fucking dumbass movie. And it's really so surprising to me that you think it's so fucking funny, and yet you hate on Monkey Bone, Hamlet 2, and a whole bunch of other shit where this movie is also cliche when it comes to certain ethnicities
No,
and
no.
a whole bunch of
That
other
has-
shit.
First of all, it's not cliche with a whole bunch of ethnicities. Like, I'm going to push back hard on that one because that's not accurate. Like,
Well,
they go to Mexico
is.
and there are drug dealers, but they're not caricatures of themselves. They're just Mexican citizens, first and foremost. But Monkey Bone and Hamlet 2, first of all, they're incredibly sexist films. Oh, God, no comparison whatsoever.
Well,
All right, so
that's fine.
you hated it. We knew that.
I did.
Moving on.
Yeah, I did. And the bloopers weren't funny because I hated the movie, so I didn't.
That makes
yeah,
sense.
no.
And Ed Helms is the guy in The Hangover that pulls his tooth out and gets the Mike Tyson tattoo on his face.
I love that. My ladder sizer is gone.
He also plays Andy in The Office.
Yeah, that's right.
Nick Offerman, he was in one of the all-time best episodes of television in history because he was in that one episode of The Last of Us from season 1. If you've seen that episode, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody cried.
I didn't watch any of that show, but I know the episode you're referring to.
He was also the police captain in the 21 Jump Street movies with Channing Tatum.
That's right. Yes, he was.
And he also was in Parks and Recreation for its entire run. He plays Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
And Catherine Hahn is in WandaVision. She plays Agatha. She's also in Bad Moms. She plays Ben Stiller's sister in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. My very first pick for this
Yeah.
podcast.
That's right.
And she's also in Step Brothers, another movie you don't like.
Yep.
But I totally understand what you're saying about Jason Sudeikis because I feel the same way about Adam Sandler. I don't think he has any talent whatsoever. I don't like his style of comedy at all. And ironically, the only movie of his that I actually like is Just Go With It with Jennifer Aniston. And you're right, the writers of this film are some guys that you like their other movies. Bob Fisher and Steve Faber, they wrote Wedding Crashers. And Sean Anders, he wrote She's Out of My League, one of your previous picks.
Yes.
Hot Tub Time Machine, movie we both like.
Hell yeah.
Horrible Bosses 2, Daddy's Home 1 and 2, and Spirited, which I picked just in the last year or two for Christmas.
I completely forgot that he was one of the writers on Spirited. That's a
Yeah, me
good
too.
one, yeah.
Yeah. And one of my favorite director names, similar to Wolfgang Reitherman, is Rawson Marshall Thurber. Big fan of his on this show. He directs entertaining popcorn films, forgettable, kind of ridiculous, not Oscar contenders, but they're just fun. They're what you expect Saturday night movies to be. He directed Red Notice, Skyscraper, Central Intelligence, Dodgeball. They're fun movies.
Hell yeah.
And I've shared most of the trivia for this movie already as our discussion has progressed. The only other thing I want to tell you is that Emma Roberts, Jennifer Aniston, and Will Poulter all won Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Awards in 2013.
Oh. Oh, good for them.
You're just jealous.
Well, I'm allowed to be in that moment. That's also, I mean, you know, congratulations for everybody involved in that scene. That scene just went on a little bit too long.
I get it. Yeah,
that didn't
that's fine.
need to be the way it went.
Yeah.
And I really was not a fan of the way that Sudeikis stood there eating potato chips watching the whole thing. I thought that was just fucking
What else
weird
is he
as
going to
fuck.
do?
Go walk around and smoke a joint? I don't know.
Well, I will tell you that We're the Millers had a $37 million budget.
Wow.
Thankfully, John is an outlier for his opinion on this movie because on a $37 million budget in the United States, this movie made $150 million.
That's a lot of really sad people.
It made very happy people because they were very entertained. It made $270 million worldwide.
Wow, that's horrible.
And it was the 16th highest grossing film in 2013. So everybody flood John's social media telling him how much you love We're the Millers.
Come at me, y'all. You're all wrong.
So that is We're the Millers, one of my favorite comedies, and a movie that John still hates.
Still hate it.
All right. I wish I would have talked longer so I could have delayed talking about your film. But here we are. All right, let's get this over with.
All right, let's do it. Let's jump into my pick this week, a movie that V apparently still hates. This is such an interesting episode because, truthfully, I didn't really care about any of the BTS of We're the Millers. And I know you very likely don't care about any of the BTS for my pick this week. So it's very possible that this could just be you talking for 25 minutes about how much you hate this movie and why.
I wouldn't even waste that much of my time on this movie. Don't worry, I'll keep it short.
All right, great. Then I'll take my sweet time. I'll take at least 5 to 6 hours, which is how long it took for 2 of these leads to get into the makeup for this movie every day.
Ugh, not worth it.
All right. Well, if you were following along with us last week, my pick for this week, this film is written by Keenan Ivory Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Andrew McElfresh, Michael Anthony Snowden, and Xavier Cook. This film is directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans, also starring Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Busy Phillips, Jennifer Carpenter, Maitland Ward, Jamie King, John Hurd, Brittany Daniel, and Dudek, and Terry Crews in one of my favorite Terry Crews roles. This film is called White Chicks. I saw this movie in theaters and absolutely loved it, and own the unrated DVD, which in my personal opinion, the PG-13 version is better.
Oh, that's a rarity.
Yes, and I imagine you watched the PG-13 rated version on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
All right. I watched my unrated copy, but it is what it is. It's still entertaining, still makes me laugh. There's just a couple of scenes that I just feel completely unnecessary, and that's why they were left on the cutting room floor for the PG-13 version. Now, White Chicks is a film about two FBI agents that are pretty disgraced. They try and operate a sting against a drug cartel early on in the movie, and everything goes to hell, and it goes completely awry. Their captain comes in after this whole thing goes awry and tells them that they are now just going to be on a desk. They need to turn in a report for this. They should have called for backup. But Kevin and Marcus, who are played by Sean and Marlon Wayans, were very gung-ho, and they were really wanting all the credit. They seemed to be a bit of a laughingstock in the office as well, so they were trying to prove not just to themselves that they could do it, but to their department as well. So after the drug bust goes awry, they get word that these socialites are going to be coming in to spend a weekend in the Hamptons for this major event that will be the talk of the town for the one percenters of the Hamptons up in New York State. They get wind of a possible kidnapping of these two socialites, Tiffany and Brittany Wilson. Brittany and Tiffany Wilson are the subject of this potential kidnapping. Brittany, played by Maitland Ward. If you don't recognize her by name, she was a character actress. She played one of the love interests on the show Boy Meets World many, many years ago.
I never saw that show.
Oh, it was a great show. It actually holds up pretty well. But Maitland Ward has since left the entertainment world of Hollywood and started to do porn. So she's now a porn star.
Okay. Probably after being in this abysmal movie.
It's very possible this was the one that did it. Ann Dudek plays Tiffany Wilson. Ann Dudek, if you don't know her by name, she is a character actress as well. She was on a couple episodes of How I Met Your Mother. I actually did a movie with her several years ago called Middleman. She was very sweet, and her and I had a lot of fun conversations, particularly about White Chicks.
I recognize her as Wilson's girlfriend from the show House.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. She was on House. Oh, her story is very tragic, though.
Yes, it is. It's a bummer. She's been around. I like her every time she shows up.
Definitely. She's a lot of fun. So when Brittany and Tiffany arrive, we find out that Marcus and Kevin have actually been assigned to pick them up from the airport and escort them to the Hamptons, just in case this kidnapping is going to take place between the airport and the Hamptons. One thing leads to another during the transportation from the airport to the hotel before they go to the Hamptons, and the girls are, quote-unquote, disfigured. One of them has a scratch on her lip and the other one has a scratch on her nose. And this is apparently the ultimate end of the world scenario for these two socialites, because they are hopefully going to be on the cover of some magazine that's going to be there that all of the other socialite daughters want to be a part of, but they are the ones that think that they're going to get it this year. So these two girls throw a BF, which I think this moment is pretty hysterical.
I'm gonna have BF.
Wait, hey, what's a BF?
She's gonna have a bitch fit! You better get out of here! I am gonna call your boss!
Come on, you don't have to do that.
No! I am gonna call the owner of the company!
Come on, just take it easy. Look, we can work this out.
No! I'm gonna write a letter.
No! Please, don't write a letter. Look, just calm down. You guys just stay here. Stay here the whole weekend. Do whatever you want, but whatever you do not leave this room.
So after all of this, Kevin basically tells Marcus, these girls will actually be at the Hamptons, and we will be impersonating both Tiffany and Brittany Wilson in the Hamptons this weekend, in case the kidnappers go through with their plan to kidnap these girls. So a whole team comes in and basically turns them into these two socialites. And if you've seen the movie, and Vee, I know you have, I think this is maybe your second time.
Yes.
I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, but the reveal of them as Brittany and Tiffany is not just creepy, but it's very disturbing, because the makeup, while not perfect, of course, it's very much
awful.
It's totally awful.
They
It
look
reminds
like
me of
corpses.
Norbert. They really do, yeah. And they've got the contacts in and the long blonde hair, and they're wearing tights and the high-heeled boots and the skirts and everything. And so they, as these two girls, end up getting to the Hamptons, checking into their hotel, and meeting up with this group of girls that apparently they have done everything with since childhood. And of course, Kevin and Marcus are unaware of who these girls are, so they have to start playing even more so as Brittany and Tiffany to get incorporated with this group of friends so that nobody can actually pick up on the fact that these two men are not actually Brittany and Tiffany Wilson. And for the rest of the movie, we are along for this, in my opinion, a very hilarious ride. I know a lot of other people are fans of this movie, my father being one of them, which always surprised the living hell out of me that my dad thought that this movie was hilarious. And we watch Kevin and Marcus go about trying to get in with these girls, make sure that this kidnapping doesn't go through, and we are introduced to Terry Crews's character. He plays a basketball player named Latrell, who's on a hunt to find a white woman to marry. And his first introduction, his first line of dialogue always cracked me up.
Man, it may be summertime in the Hamptons, but it is snowing up in here.
And this movie is just out of control. It is hysterical. It's disturbing. And I have laughed every time I watch it. Now, granted, I don't think everything in this movie is funny. There are plenty of sight gags that are literally just for the sake of comedy. And if you know who Keenan Ivory Wayans are and the Wayans brothers, Scary Movie 2, Don't Be a Menace in South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, Little Man, Haunted House, just a whole bunch of satirical spoofs on not only horror movies, but movies from the hood. And this one in particular, White Chicks, is a take on Tootsie or Some Like It Hot. So we've seen this trope before where men are dressing as women to be under the guise so that they can get further or, in this case, stop a potential kidnapping. There's multiple offensive moments in this movie, and I already know that that's likely what you're to talk about in this little discussion, V, on White Chicks. But I have been a fan of it since 2004. I think I saw it 3 times in theaters. The first time I actually saw it was a movie hop with some friends of mine. We went to Universal City Walk and went and saw a movie, and then we were like, you know what, let's go and see White Chicks. And we walked in right as the movie was starting. And my buddies and I used to sit around and get baked and watch this movie all the time. I'm a big fan, and I'm not necessarily anxious to hear what V has to say, but I did destroy at least one person in your movie just a few minutes ago. So I guess it's your turn, V, to completely destroy the movie that I chose this week.
I'm going to say the same thing to you that my buddy Mo said to his girlfriend when she farted so loud in bed she woke them both up.
Okay.
I love you less.
Wow. So this was the one that made you love me less. It wasn't Monkey Bone or Hamlet 2.
No.
It was this movie.
However, I will give you the consolation prize of saying I hated Hamlet 2 more than this movie. Hamlet 2 is my most hated film. I liked Monkey Bone more than this one.
Whoa! Oh, wow. Okay.
This movie...
well, you have the floor, so give it to me. Give it to our audience. And I'm curious how many of our audience members actually watch White Chicks and still laugh.
It took me 3 days to finish this goddamn movie.
It's only an hour and 40 minutes.
I know, but that's how many times I had to shut the stupid thing off. And every single time I went to push play again, the idea of taking a bath with my toaster was more enticing than watching this film.
Yeah, okay. That's a bit dramatic.
I hate this movie.
Suicide was contemplated while watching this movie.
I hate this movie so much. First and foremost, the very first scene, they're undercover as Hispanic men, and the worst racial stereotypes you can possibly think of are depicted in the beginning of this film, and that was the most offensive part, honestly. The acting is terrible, and Marcus actually says and threatens to kill himself in one scene in the movie. I'm like, oh man, right there with you, buddy. So... They take a quote from Blazing Saddles, which was actually, now that I think about it, the most offensive part of the movie, because how dare they? They have no right to even have Blazing Saddles in the same realm as the White Chicks.
I disagree.
Not only do they look like corpses, but they also remind me, remember in The Office when Rainn Wilson puts the silly putty on his face and says, hello, Clarice.
Oh, yeah.
That's who they look like.
Yes, I do.
There were 2 lines in this film that I kind of liked. It was, both of them are Terry Crews. Terry Crews was the only tolerable part of this movie. First of all, he's looking at one of the Wayans brothers dressed up as a white chick, And he goes,
Yeah.
that's a white girl with a black girl's ass. And the other scene with Terry Crews is when they're at the beach and he's in a Speedo. And I was like, damn, Terry Crews is hot. Okay. And what they call him as a nickname on the beach made me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, this was a painful experience. And I'm so glad that so many other people agree with me, because this thing, I know you would never bring it up, but this movie has a 5.9 rating on IMDb and a 15% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nah, they don't know what they're talking about.
So
They don't have senses of humor, clearly.
God, please. This is just all so stupid and low-hanging fruit. It was so obvious.
It
Every
is
single
stupid.
joke
It's
they
so
make is
stupid.
so dumb. And I'm just like, really? You're not even trying. Like, at least put some effort into making some jokes. Nope. They had to pick
Well,
the
I disagree.
stupidest, most obvious ones. And it was terrible.
All right. Well, I will agree with you that it is very obvious, and it's just, what else are they going to do? You know, one of the
Nothing.
Wilson sisters
Nothing.
is based
Don't
off
make
of
this
Paris
movie.
Hilton. And- well, you'll be happy to know that a sequel was confirmed, and Terry Crews actually let it slide out that it was confirmed on a talk show, and then a little bit later after that, they ended up canceling it. Not strictly because of what Terry Crews said, but I think it just ended up not getting any more traction, and the Wayans brothers just decided to move on from it.
Same with Where the Millers.
Oh, well, that's good. Thank God for that.
Right back at you.
So both of our movies did not get sequels, which is, I guess, good for both of us. Not that I would ever watch We're Still the Millers. It's probably what it would have been fucking called.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, and I wonder what White Chicks would
Whiter
have been called
Chicks?
as a sequel. Whiter Chicks, yeah. Or White Chicks 2, Electric Boogaloo, or something like that. I don't know. But this movie always made me laugh, and when I was watching this time around, there were moments when I was laughing again, and I was like, I wonder if V's even going to find this funny.
No.
And clearly you didn't. So that's a shame. You didn't even like the whole dinner scene with Terry Crews and Marlon Wayans dressed as Tiffany?
Where she's chewing her toenails at the table? No.
No, not just no. That is terrible. No, but after you just said where she chews her toenails, that's hilarious right there. See, he was convincing as a white woman.
She's presenting as female, so that's what pronoun I'm going to use.
Yeah. Okay. No, I like when he orders the food and he's like, and for the lady, perhaps a salad. And he goes, perhaps not, and like orders the entire fucking menu, and then later on is just chowing it down. That scene did crack me up, especially because Terry Crews, when he does the whole oyster thing, was always that moment that
I hate
was
loud
like,
eaters.
good God. You what?
I hate loud eaters.
Oh, yeah. Oh, me too. Definitely. Well, my wife can't sit next to me when I'm chewing, so I guess my wife doesn't either.
I know. We go and sit somewhere else.
But I think I told the story, maybe not, but I have met Terry Crews once in the past. It was at the upfront party for the CW when I'd first started working there. And I was with a buddy of mine, and we had just left the bar, and I see Terry Crews, and he's talking to somebody, and whomever he was talking to left, and I was like, dude, I gotta go say hi to Terry Crews. Because not only do I love him in this movie, I completely think he is absolutely hysterical in The Longest Yard, and he is also in The Benchwarmers and Idiocracy as the president, which is hysterical, and he is in Norbit, another one of the movies that was very close to being the movie I chose for this episode, just because I know you also don't like Norbit at all.
Oh, no, I would have, but, oh, God, how could I have vetoed an episode of movies you hate? I don't think we're allowed, right? That's the whole point.
I don't know. He's also Damon in Friday After Next, and that was another hilarious role of his. He plays a guy that just got out of prison and is living at home, and Ice Cube and Mike Epps are always running into him because they're not able to pay their rent, and Damon is the one that's trying to collect the rent for his mom, etc. So, beyond Terry Crews, I've actually had the pleasure of also working with Busy Phillips, who plays one of the girls in their entourage. I worked with her on New Girl. She's very sweet. She's very entertaining. Jennifer Carpenter, I've always loved ever since Exorcism of Emily Rose. I've never seen Dexter, which I still one of these days have to watch because not only is she in it, also John Lithgow's in it, so one of these days I'll jump onto that. But I always thought the scene with Kevin as Brittany Wilson, where Jennifer Carpenter's character is asking her to help her try on clothes, that whole scene always cracked me up because Jennifer Carpenter starts losing her mind about the fact that her body is way too fat and she can't fit it into anything. And it just kind of goes and spirals out of control from there, especially when Marlon Wayans is trying to try on clothes and the ladies are trying to help him get into something that is absolutely small. And he goes, I think I need a bigger size. And Busy Phillips' character goes, honey, you never need a bigger size. I always thought that was pretty funny, too.
Good for you.
I was going to say, I guess you have nothing to add.
No.
Well, I've definitely destroyed your movie far more than you've destroyed mine this week. So I'm
This is
actually
not worth
surprised. I
the
thought
effort.
you had a lot more.
It's not worth the effort.
All right. Well, okay then. So that is White Chicks. Thanks, guys, for joining us for this episode. Now, I have a couple of things of BTS that I found interesting. V likely couldn't care less, but our audience might find interesting. I did mention
If
that
we
the
weren't
makeup
sitting
process.
next to each other, I'd pull out my phone.
Wow. I didn't even look at mine while you were talking about your movie. I gave you a little bit of respect.
I haven't touched it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just saying I thought about
That's
it.
what she said.
See? Now that was funny. You're funnier than the Wayans brothers in this instance. Good job.
All right, thank you very much. We've all heard of the name Greg Kamen. He was the makeup artist on this movie. He did the makeup for Mrs. Doubtfire and The Mask. There's some interesting interviews with him on the making of featurettes on the DVD that I have. And not only was it a 5 to 6 hour process, there were times where they would only have to worry about their faces, which was a lot shorter of a process. And that definitely helped things move along a lot closer. They did so many different tests, especially with wigs and nails. And I've only dressed as a woman one time in my life, and I wore a dress and I wore a black wig, and it was for a camp skit way, way, way back in the day. I think it was like 1998 or 1999.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, the Whip It skit was my claim to fame at the camp that V and I met at, and my wife, actually, and I met at as well. We all three met at the same camp. This movie, as everybody I'm sure knows, all of the other Wayans Brothers movies, except for Little Man, are R-rated and extremely raunchy. I mean, we all remember Scary Movie and Scary Movie 2. I always thought Scary
Take my
Movie 2 was
strong hand.
far... Yeah, I always thought Scary Movie 2 was far raunchier than Scary Movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Haunted House actually was pretty entertaining. I never did see Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, but since I love long-titled movies, I might want to check that one out in the future.
I think you need to.
Yeah. But the original plan for White Chicks was to be an R-rated, very raunchy comedy, but the studio executives at the time wanted this movie to appeal to a wider audience, so they had him cut it down to a PG-13 movie. There is also a song in this movie that's very popular with all of the girls, and it's in the trailer, and if you haven't seen the movie, you've seen that scene in the trailer where they're all in the car and 1,000 Miles comes up by Vanessa Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Crews was also, at the time, and I'm sure still is, a very big fan of not only Vanessa Carlton, but that song, and he knew all of the lyrics to it. So the scene where he is in the car with Marlon as Tiffany is all done in one take with multiple cameras set up because he loved that song so much. All of what he did in that scene was improvised by Terry Crews on the day.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I'll never forget being in the theater, and he, of course, Marcus, as Tiffany, turns the radio on, and that song comes on, and, of course, Terry Crews is like, how did you know? And then just, like, busts into this whole thing. It's pretty entertaining, but I guess you didn't find that funny either.
No.
Wow, madness. Well, in an episode like this, I guess it's good that I really couldn't find a whole lot more of the BTS on White Chicks. Suffice to say, I am a fan of it. So are several of my buddies. My wife is not a fan of it. As V, you are not a fan of it either. And
more bonding
world over,
opportunities
though.
for Amy and I.
Yeah. The world over, though, is a fan of this movie because on a $37 million budget, that's the same budget as your movie.
Yeah.
So both of our movies cost $37 million to make. The domestic box office for White Chicks on a June 23rd, 2004 release was $70.8 million. And worldwide, $113.1 million.
Where the Millers kicked its ass.
Yeah, but it still did pretty well for a $37 million budget.
Yeah.
It is considered a cult classic because, again, people that don't have a sense of humor don't like the movie, and those with a sense of humor do. So it's pretty good. It's entertaining. If you've never seen it before, it's on Netflix. The PG-13 version is better over the unrated version. I'm sorry, V, you had such a terrible time watching it, and I just don't understand how it took you 3 different days to watch this movie.
Because I could only watch it for 30 minutes at a time before I became irrationally angry and wanted to toss my laptop across the room. That's why.
Well, it is what it is. So that, everybody, is my pick for this week of movies we hate. I don't know if we're going to do another one of these episodes because there's really no winning for either of us in this scenario. But
everyone's a loser in this episode is what you're saying.
Totally. Yeah. No, none of us win this one.
Audience, let us know if you think you are too.
But
hopefully
yeah,
our audience is having a good time.
I think they are. And I feel like I'm opening a lot of people's eyes to the fact that Sudeikis is an egotistical prickbag. So...
You know what's hilarious is that several people have reached out to me because, as you all know, the week before, in the end of the episode, we'll tell you what we're doing the following week. And so when we talked about movies you hate for this week's episode and mentioned We're the Millers and that you hate it, I had a couple of our listeners reach out to me and go and say, what the hell is wrong with John? Like, before this episode even dropped, they were agreeing with me.
Well, you know what? Fine, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. And I think another reason why Sudeikis rubs me the wrong way is because he fucked up a relationship with Olivia Wilde.
No, he didn't. She cheated on him.
Did. Nope, she told me when I saw her at Griffith Park one morning. I was like, so what's going on with you and Jason? She goes, oh, that fucking egotistical prickbag is
you
so incredibly
liar.
Funny.
Shut the fuck
I cannot
up.
be married to him. I hate the fact that my child came from him. Fuck Jason Sudeikis and fuck We're the Millers.
You only met her years and years ago.
I did my first movie with Olivia Wilde. And even back then, she was like, you know what? If I ever meet a guy with Jason as the first name, I'm probably going to end up divorcing him because he's so terrible. No, I know. That's ridiculous. That's stretching. But it probably happened because
But it's more creative than any of the script in White Chicks, so I'll give you that.
So that is White Chicks, everybody. Streaming on Netflix. Give it a shot if you have not and you like a good laugh.
You've been warned, people.
Well, like I just said a few minutes ago, this was an interesting episode for Movies News Podcast. It took us 3 years to get into some movies we truly hate of each other's movie choices. Don't know if we'll ever do this again, but it was kind of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
The problem is that you and I love so many movies. It's actually hard for us to find movies that we truly hate that we talk like this.
Yeah, that's true. It is. It's very true.
Especially
and
if the other one
not like
loves.
a certain comedy. Yeah. Very, very true. So, V, I'm curious, would you watch We're the Millers with your grandmother?
No, absolutely not. Because this is as you said, this is a very raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
It's not even it's kind of a drug comedy, but there's not a lot of there's no drug use. It's more
There's
just
no drug use.
Lots and lots and lots of cursing. There's also male frontal nudity. It was a prosthetic. It wasn't real, but
well, that's good.
Like Emma Roberts, I didn't have a problem with it because, like Emma Roberts says in the movie, we've all seen a dick.
Yeah.
Which you just laughed at.
Yeah, because it's true.
Yeah.
And Emma Roberts was funny in that scene. It didn't come out of dipshit's mouth.
Yeah, she was funny in that scene. So hard R, but my mother really likes the film. My sisters love it. My friend Megan loves it. Our listener Morgan does too. I know a lot of people who love this film.
It's a lot of wrong people in the world.
So if you like R-rated comedies, definitely give it a shot. It's also streaming on Netflix. And John, please tell me you would never watch White Chicks with your grandma or anyone else.
No, I never did watch it with grandma. It's definitely not up her alley. But I have watched, I think, the final 45 minutes of it with my dad at one point in the past. But my dad had already seen it, and he was like, I don't know what it is, but that movie makes me laugh. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, there you go.
I don't know what it is either.
It's called a sense of humor.
Oh, no. I have one, because I was willing to entertain the idea of this episode.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. If we are back next week, we will be jumping into one of my favorite months of the year. October is upon us. That means horror movies all October. And what we're going to be doing is bringing you 2 episodes that we originally recorded last year that unfortunately did not make it to the airwaves. So stay tuned for that, like I said, if we decide to come back.
Yes, we are re-recording the lost episodes for all of you, and we're very excited to finally bring them to your earwaves.
Yes, indeed. Especially with our first week's choices.
Mm-hmm.
V, you want to let everybody know what you're doing next week?
Absolutely. I was actually excited to rewatch these films so we can talk about them again. And The theme is witches, and so I picked the classic Stephen King movie, Carrie.
Nice. And I had only ever seen it the one time last year, and I watched the Blu-ray copy that you bought for me at the library.
As soon as I saw it, I knew I had to get it for you.
Yeah.
You can rent it on most streaming services for $2.99.
Perfect.
And John, which movie did you pick?
Let's get into my pick for next week. I chose a movie from 2015. This is Robert Eggers' directorial and feature film debut, also starring Anya Taylor-Joy in her feature film debut, Ralph Ineson, Kate Dickey, Julian Richings, Harvey Scrimshaw, and a handful of other actors. This is a small cast. This is The Witch, a New England folktale. And it is currently streaming and available for rent on Amazon for $2.99. I will be watching my Blu-ray copy. I love this movie, and I'm so glad that I introduced you to it last year, and I'm glad that this is now your second time going down this road.
Me too. And I am so happy that you introduced me to it last year. I guess, spoiler alert, I loved it. We usually wait to talk about that until the episode itself, but I'm really looking forward to revisiting this film.
As am I. It is a rewatch every October, so looking forward to it. So thank you guys again for joining us for Movies We Hate. Please do rate, review, subscribe, follow us on all social media, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We love discussing movies with you and also being introduced to movies. So if there's a movie out there that you think we would enjoy, let us know what it is. We'll watch it.
Absolutely.
All right, V, until next time, let's shut down this episode of Movies You Hate with Film as a Form of Art, and in art, all opinions are valid, except if you think.
This episode will affect John and I's friendship in any way.
Oh, interesting. Well, at least one of us thinks that way.
All right, folks. We will not see you next week.
Sean, see you. No, we will. We absolutely will. Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.